Hey guys, this is Caleb with DSLR Video Shooter, and today we are going to talk about the perfect $500 LED light kit. There are so many different LED lights out there, and it's hard to figure out what to put together for an entire lighting kit. So in today's video, we are going to talk about a $500 LED kit with absolutely everything you need to shoot great videos. So we're talking 3 lights, stands, modifiers, absolutely everything. I will be doing more affordable kits like a $250 kit coming up in future videos. So for this one, I wanted really high quality lights that were easily portable, battery powered solutions, had really high quality output and CRI. So I reached out to Aputure, and this is what I came up with. The first of the lights is going to be the Aputure H672S. So the S stands for spot. This will let us have a more spotty light instead of a really wide flood, and we can use diffusion to soften the light, and we'll do several setups here in a little bit. So first, let's go over the lights and what comes with them. I selected the Aputure HR672S as a kit, so that costs $278, but you get lots with the light. In the box, you'll find a really nice bag, a power supply for the light, a remote to control the light, 2 MPF batteries, and these aren't the little dinky cheapo ones. These are actually much larger and very nice. A slick little mount for the light, and then the light itself with a tungsten filter diffuser and a clear diffuser. So here I have the light itself, and I want to go over some of the features. First, it's a decent sized panel. It's not massive, but it's also not really small, so it's a really nice form factor. On the back, you'll see we have our 2 battery plates and mounts. Takes MPF style batteries, and it comes with those 2 batteries. We have a really nice on-off power switch. The power input if you want to power this with a cable instead of the batteries. And on the far right, we have a very nice dimmer. So that's max output hitting my background. You can see how spotty it is, which I really like. That gives us a lot of flexibility depending on how we want to use the light. Let me turn it all the way down here. And the other reason I love this is look how good that color looks. It has a very high CRI, and I've noticed 0 shifts on this, so I really love how clean the color is. No crazy magenta, green, or blue. Finally, on the back, we have group and channel buttons, which will allow you to add multiple lights down the road if you want and use that remote to control them individually. Another cool feature on this light is there are 1/4-20 taps on 3 of the 4 sides of the light, allowing you to mount it in a portrait, landscape, or just add other gear to it, which is really, really slick. The next lights I chose were 2 Aputure H198 lights. There's several reasons I went with these, and we're going to get into those in a little bit. But when you pick these up, in the box you're going to find a nice bag with a zipper lid, a clear diffuser and a tungsten diffuser filter, the light itself, a little hot shoe 1/4-20 adapter, and a ball head mount. There are several reasons I went with the H198 for the second and third light. First is the high quality CRI. The output is really good. Let me turn it up here. There you go. Pretty bright light for the size. Great color. Let me turn it all the way down. There we go. You can see very accurate color, and this is going to match really, really well with our main light, which is going to be the 672. On the back of the light, we have our battery plate mount. We have an on-off dimmer switch, and we also have a battery indicator button that you can hold down and see what the status of your battery is. On all 4 sides of the light, we have female cold shoe mounts, which gives us the ability to add other lights and other gear. One of those slots will be taken up with that little 1/4-20 adapter, which you'll stick on there and use that to mount things like ball mounts and things like that. Another great feature is the protective cover on the front that's built onto the light, so you can really beat on this thing without worrying about damaging the LEDs. I don't normally use the filters that come with these lights because I don't find them soft enough or the color is really wonky, but if you do use them, it has a really nice mounting solution and just kind of snaps on the front of the light. You can also, in a pinch, power the light with AA batteries. So if your batteries are dying or something happens at the airport, you know you can run over to Walmart or wherever and pick up a ton of batteries and you'll be good to go. Another huge party piece to these lights, and the reason I chose two of the same light, is that you can link them together. So I have one light with the ball head and I have another light here with that little 1/4-20 hot shoe adapter that comes with the light, and I can mount them on top of each other to create a larger panel. And you can continue doing this, create a 4-panel, 6-panel, 9-panel, really anything, which is pretty slick. So I'm going to turn both of them on, and they have perfectly matching color. So now we have a lot more output. This could be used as a fill light, its own key light easily, or you can break the lights up and have 2 lights, one for a background, one for a hair light, all kinds of different options. And that is why I went with these lights, is you can build on them, buy more of them, and you can use them in any way you want. Link them together or use them separately. Now our main key light, the 672, comes with 2 batteries, but I also recommend picking up some extra batteries. So I found a kit on Amazon that comes with 2 MPF 750 batteries, so they're the medium size, still very large batteries, for $34, I believe. And I've bought several of these over the last year, and they work really well. Great capacity, and they hold up really well. So those are the LEDs in this $500 kit. Now let's get to the other gear that comes with it and actually use these and light some stuff. The next thing we're going to need is light stands. I found a kit that comes with 3 stands from Newer. Not the greatest stands in the world, but they're actually not terrible either. So they are metal with some plastic and aluminum. They're going to work just fine for these lights, since these lights aren't super hardcore heavy. Get 3 of them for $38, and I'll have everything linked in the description when it comes to this kit. So we got 3 stands for our 3 lights. The next thing we're going to need is a way to modify our light and make it softer. One of the cheapest, easiest ways to do this is with a 5-in-1 reflector. Now there's several things that come with this. We have 5 essential options. One is a white side, which I have right next to me now, obviously, and it can really fill really anything, and you can also bounce off of it. So hit light onto the surface, and it'll give you a nice soft light back. We also have a gold, sorry, this thing's a big one. This is 43 inches. And there's also silver, and then in the center is where kind of the magic happens for really easy diffusion. So there's a zipper along the edge here. And then we have a translucent interior. Sorry about the noise. This is going to be great for shooting the light through and getting really soft light, which we'll see a couple setups here in a second. We're also going to need a way to mount our 5-in-1 reflector, and I found this great kit from Newer, again on Amazon. It cost me $36, I believe it was, but it comes with a stand, a plastic kind of gobo head or grip head with an arm that's designed for holding our 5-in-1 reflector. You can also do lots of other things with this, which we'll also take a look at, but this is the cheapest way to get diffusion and have all the rigging with the reflector as well as this boom arm. Since we have a little bit of cash left over, there's a couple things I would also recommend you pick up. One is just straight up diffusion material. I picked up this for $10. I believe it's kind of like 2 by 1 yard, so pretty large sheet from Newer, in $9.99, which is pretty amazing. And that's going to really let us diffuse our light even further. You can also use our boom arm that we just talked about, drape this over it, shoot light through it, double it up. So many different options. The last thing is some foam board or foam core. So I'm going to grab it right here. So you can use that to add fill, bounce light, and we'll be using this for a couple different setups. You can pick up packs of 3 different sizes from really anywhere. So you can head over to Target or some school supply place, art supply, and pick up a couple sheets of this stuff. Now that we've talked about everything in the kit, let's actually put this all to work and go through several different lighting setups. Hello, lighting setup number 1. This is kind of a corporate video interview style setup. So I'd be looking off camera, answering questions, and good for like a Kickstarter video, any really corporate documentary interview style thing. I could also frame up in the center and use this for YouTube stuff. If I was doing this, I would bring the key light around. So that brings us to the actual lighting. We are using the 672 as the key light. I'm shooting it through that 5-in-1 reflector, and it's giving me this nice soft light. To make it even softer, I went ahead and added that silk diffusion material or fabric, and that really softened it up. So you can see it's really, really soft, which is awesome, and it's one of the cheapest ways to get really, really soft light. Now, to help that out a little bit, I have right out of frame here a piece of that white foam core. I'm using that as my fill. So without it, looks like that. You could go for that if you wanted something a little more dramatic, or kind of like so. But if you bring it in, just out of frame, it fills in the side of my face very nicely. So other lighting stuff, all the way in the back, I'm using our 2 different H198 lights. One is hitting the background. I have it turned pretty low, so I'm still getting a nice darker gray. And then finally, I've got a kicker light. If I turn like this, you can kind of see it hitting my forehead and the side of my face here. So that's kind of hitting me at this angle. I essentially have the background light on a stand hitting the background, and since those lights have a cold shoe at the top, I added a second light on top of it with another ball head, and that's pointed at me. So I'm using one light stand for 2 different lights that are pointed in completely different directions. Now that kicker would show up a lot better if I wasn't wearing black, so you could play with it depending on what kind of color or clothing people are wearing. And the only other thing I did was cut some of the diffusion material off of that huge piece, and I put it on the light that's hitting me as a kicker to soften it up even more. And I just used a C47 clip to do that, and that's also how I attached the silk right here to the 5-in-1 reflector. This next lighting setup is going to be some product shot stuff. And for this one, I started with kind of a table or bench, and I put one of those white foam core pieces down, put the camera on top of it. Then I used that reflector holder, but instead of holding a reflector, I put another piece of foam board on the same mount. It works great with foam board as well as obviously reflectors. From there, I took both of the Aputure H198s, put them on stands with ball heads, and positioned them so they would bounce light off of that upper foam board down onto the camera. So the only light hitting the subject, or in our case the camera, is light that's being bounced off of that foam board. Next, I took the Aputure 672 and used that as a background light. And this light is actually doing 2 things. It's putting light on the background, but it's also sending some light toward the rear of the camera and acting as kind of a hair light for the actual camera. Now you could shoot everything at daylight. What I decided to do to add kind of some more depth when it comes to color was to put the tungsten or orange filters on the Aputure H198s. Then I set my camera's white balance to tungsten. This way we have, nice normal light on the camera, but then the background and the light hitting the camera from the rear, or the rim light, looks blue because we did not put a filter on the rear light. So that's a really cool way to introduce some color, and you could flip that around and have daylight in the foreground and tungsten in the background. Lots of different options there. So that is how you can put together a lighting kit for just under $500, giving you tons of flexibility. I barely scratched the surface with what you could do with these lights. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You can check out all the stuff that I used in this video in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.